everybody, I'm Kayla. I'm a dietitian.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chef Tim.
And we're from the Community Table. The Community Table celebrates cultural meaningful recipes, and we connect through in-person and virtual classes. So if you haven't already, check out our introduction video and our 2 recipes on our YouTube channel. So today we're highlighting Eastern European cuisine, and our recipes are submitted by neighbors within our community.
Awesome. Let's get started.
All right, let's do it.
Меня зовут Татьяна, и мой папа приходит волонтерить сюда, и очень нравится общество. Он очень много рассказывает, и таким образом пришла я, чтобы помочь на классах по приготовлению пищи, чтобы я смогла переводить для русскоговорящих и украинскоговорящих людей. Я познакомилась с новыми людьми, и мы поговорили, пообщались, а также новые рецепты. Думаю, что дома буду готовить курицу ровно так же, как меня научили.
So Tim, what are we making today?
Today, we're going to make Russian Borsch, and our first step is going to be to prep the beef.
Awesome. Is there a specific cut of beef that you would prefer for this recipe?
Yeah, so for this, we're going to use chuck. Now, oftentimes in the grocery store, you might see meat that's labeled stew meat. That's oftentimes just chuck meat. So what I would advise is to buy a larger cut of meat, and then you can prep it yourself. Now, chuck works really well for this type of recipe because it has a lot of connective tissue, but we're going to cook it for a long period of time in the soup. So that's going to break down and then become very tender.
Okay. Also sounds very cost effective.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Cool. So our first step on this is we're going to dice it up, and then we're going to sear it in the pot.
Perfect. How big are you dicing the pieces?
I would say about 1 inch is probably a good size.
Great.
All right, so once we get these into long strips, then we can turn it the other direction and then slice these into cubes. All right, and while you're grating the beets, I'm gonna go ahead and sear off our chuck steak in the pan. So I've already got the pot preheated back there. So to the pot, I'm just gonna add about a tablespoon of olive oil, and then we're gonna go ahead and add in the beef to the pot, and we wanna hear that nice sizzle. All right, so we got some nice color here with the beef, some nice kind of crispy bits on the bottom. So then now we're gonna add in our stock and deglaze our pot. And then all of that brown bits, that's called deglazing. So that liquid's just gonna pull that right off of the bottom of the pan. All that flavor then is gonna be introduced into the soup. So don't get rid of that. Some people might often think that, oh, I'm burning the pan, but there's some really good flavor that you're developing. Okay, so after we get our beef browned and our beets grated, then we want to dice up our potatoes, and then we'll chop our carrots and our onions from there.
Great. And I think the recipe says that we need to peel our potatoes and our carrots, but I really think it's up to personal preference.
Yeah, I would say just make sure that they're washed off well, and then you can dice them into whatever size you'd like.
Sounds great.
All right, so once we get our stock in there, then we'll just go ahead and add our potatoes right into that same pot. So we'll let this come up to a boil, and then we'll reduce down to a simmer. All right, so we're gonna add a little bit of garlic to this recipe also. In the Ukrainian borscht recipe, it does call for garlic. I think garlic just adds such a great flavor to this. So we're just gonna add in a few cloves of garlic. I'd say just add in as much as you'd like. You know, maybe we'll do 5 or 6 cloves of garlic. So usually with the garlic, I like to make it finely chopped. Just kind of helps disperse throughout the soup or the recipe. So we'll just go ahead and run our knife through it a couple times in different directions, kind of scraping the side of the knife like that. All right, and then we can just add that right into the bowl with the rest of our veggies.
Okay, so I wanted to show you guys a really unique way to use the entire beet and really focusing on these beet greens, because these beet greens are jam-packed with nutrients. Specifically, they're pretty high in iron. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop these all up, throw them into a saute pan with a little bit of garlic and also some lemon. And lemon is actually very high in vitamin C, which enhances iron absorption. So it's a jam-packed, nutrient-dense dish that I'm excited to share with you guys. So I just went ahead and added this to a heated pan with a little bit of oil. I've mixed the garlic and the beet greens together, and I'm just gonna saute this until the beet greens get nice and tender. And then I'll add in a little bit of lemon juice just for that additional flavor.
All right, well, we finished these up. Let's check in with class.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so we're gonna use some fresh parsley, just some curly parsley. Italian flat leaf would work well also. And then with the herbs like this, we can go ahead and use all of the stem. Don't worry about picking the leaves off of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of roll this into a nice tight bunch. And then I can just chop, holding it really tight. So yeah, kind of this rocking motion, keeping the tip of the knife on the cutting board, and then just kind of pulling the herbs back to the center just to make sure that everything's nice and chopped up.
So we got the cabbage. What are we gonna do with the cabbage?
So cabbage is gonna go into the soup with the beef and the potatoes and the broth.
Ready to do that now?
Yeah, go ahead. We can put that in.
Fresh herbs are just like fruits and vegetables. They have a ton of nutrients. Not only do they add a lot of flavor, but they also add a lot of vitamins and minerals. So it's a great addition to any of your dishes.
We're gonna put our parsley in next. So we'll put in our 1 bunch of parsley. So when using fresh herbs, it's best to add them at the end of the cooking process versus dried herbs, which you would add typically more in the beginning of the cooking process, just to maintain some of that color and that vibrancy and the flavor.
So one of my most favorite budget-friendly kitchen tips is to save all of your vegetable scraps, put them into a Ziploc bag, throw them into the freezer, and pull them out on a rainy day and make your very own vegetable broth. You can basically add in any ingredients, add in some garlic, some onion, different herbs and spices, make it your own. But the best part is that you're able to control what you're putting in your broth. Shelf-stable broths tend to be relatively high in sodium, so if you're able to make your own and control what you put in it, the sky's the limit. Really, it is. Okay, we're gonna transfer the sauté into the main pot.
All right, so this is our beets and our carrots and our onions. So we'll just go ahead and put that in there. Look at all those beautiful colors. Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah, it's like caramelized too.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right.
All right.
This looks awesome. We can add a little bit of sour cream to the top of it.
To add a little bit of creaminess.
Yeah, definitely.
But overall, the colors are beautiful. This is definitely a rainbow soup.
Yeah, it looks so good. Let's give it a try.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Ooh, nice and steamy. Mmm.
That's comfort food, right?
It definitely is. It's so warm, so comforting. And just the flavors of the parsley and the dill together, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
This is so amazing.
Yeah.
I am going to get a little crazy, though, and take this beautiful cottage cheese roll.
Yes.
You want a piece?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And I'm just going to dip that right here in the soup.
Perfect.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us today at the community table.
Until next time.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.